I am 89 years old, and there is something I need to tell you before I leave this world. For more than 60 years, I watched people make the same mistake in marriage, and the painful truth is, most of them never even realized they were doing it. My name is Victoria. I have lived long enough to see love begin, and I have lived long enough to see love slowly disappear. When I was young, I believed marriage was simple. I believed if two people loved each other enough, everything would work out. That is what movies told us. That is what songs told us. And that is what most young people still believe today. But life has a quiet way of teaching lessons that no one prepares you for. When I was 22 years old, I worked in a small-town library. It was not a glamorous job, but it allowed me to observe people. Couples came in every day. Some were newly married and full of excitement. Some had been together for decades, and some, you could tell, were barely holding their lives together. At that age, I noticed something strange. The happiest couples were rarely the ones who looked the most perfect from the outside. In fact, many of the couples that seemed perfect at the beginning slowly fell apart over time. At first, I could not understand why. I thought maybe it was bad luck. Maybe they simply married the wrong person. But as the years passed, I started seeing a pattern. The same quiet mistake appeared again and again. Different people, different personalities, different backgrounds, but the same mistake. When I was 25, I met a man named Thomas. He was confident, charming, and very ambitious. When he spoke, people listened, and when he looked at me, I felt like I mattered. Young hearts are very easy to convince. When someone makes you feel special, your brain starts writing a beautiful story. You imagine a future together. You imagine growing old side by side. You imagine that love will always feel the way it does in the beginning. But the beginning of love is not real life. It is chemistry. It is biology. When two people fall in love, the brain releases powerful chemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. These chemicals create excitement, attachment, and emotional intensity. Your brain literally rewards you for being near that person. Everything about them seems fascinating. Their voice, their smile, even their flaws seem charming. But here is the truth most young people do not understand. Those chemicals do not last forever. Nature designed them to fade, usually within 2 or 3 years. And when those feelings fade, something very important is revealed: compatibility, respect, patience, values, the foundation of real partnership. Many couples never build that foundation. They only build feelings, and feelings are like weather. They change. I watched this happen over and over again. Couples would marry during the excitement stage. Everything would feel magical at first, but slowly the magic would fade. Small habits that once seemed cute would start becoming irritating. Conversations would become shorter. Arguments would become more frequent, and the same sentence would appear again and again: "You've changed." But the truth is, most people did not change. The illusion simply disappeared. I remember one couple very clearly. They used to visit the library together every Sunday. They laughed constantly. They held hands between the bookshelves. Anyone who saw them would say they were perfect. 3 years later, they came in again, but this time they barely spoke to each other. Their silence filled the room louder than any argument. A year later they divorced, and they were not the only ones. Over 60 years I watched hundreds of relationships follow the same pattern. The mistake was always the same. People chose partners based only on how someone made them feel in the beginning. They ignored character. They ignored values. They ignored emotional maturity, because strong feelings can be very convincing. Your brain confuses intensity with compatibility. It confuses excitement with stability. But marriage is not built on excitement. Marriage is built on daily behavior. Respect during disagreements, patience during difficult seasons, kindness when life becomes stressful. Those qualities are quiet. They are not dramatic. They do not create butterflies in your stomach. But they are the qualities that keep two people together when life becomes heavy. When I was 30 years old, my grandmother told me something that took me decades to understand. She said, "Victoria, do not marry the person who gives you the strongest emotions." She said, "Marry the person whose character makes life peaceful." At the time, I did not fully understand her words. Young people rarely do. We chase excitement. We chase intensity. We chase the feeling of being chosen. But peace is what keeps a marriage alive. And peace comes from character, not chemistry. If I could sit across from my younger self today, I would say something very simple. Do not rush to marry the person who makes your heart race. Take time to see how they treat people. See how they handle stress. See how they respond when things do not go their way. Because those moments reveal the real person. Anyone can be wonderful during the first year of love. But marriage is not 1 year. Marriage is decades. And decades reveal everything. Now I am 89 years old. Most of the people I once knew are gone. The library where I worked has been renovated twice. The town looks different. The world moves faster than it used to. But one thing has not changed. Young people still rush into love the same way we did. They still confuse strong feelings with the right partner. And many of them still learn the truth years later, sometimes too late. Life has a quiet way of teaching wisdom through time, and time is the one teacher no one can escape. So if you are young and listening to my voice right now, remember this one simple truth from an old woman who watched life for almost 9 decades. The right person will not only make you feel excited, the right person will make your life peaceful. And peace is the quiet foundation of a lasting marriage. Take your time choosing who you build a life with, because the person you marry will shape almost every day of your future. And one day, if you are lucky enough to grow old, you will sit quietly and look back at the choices you made. And in that quiet moment, you will understand which decisions truly mattered. Life is very long when you are young, but it becomes very short when you are old. Choose wisely. And if you found wisdom in the words of an old woman tonight, subscribe to this channel. There are still many lessons life taught me, and I would like to share them before my time runs out.